Up, everybody? Today I'm going to be reviewing Unquestionable Presence by Atheist. This is their second album right here. Love the artwork on this. I don't know the name of the artist who drew it, but I've always wanted to get like a wall flag of this. It looks really cool. And sorry about the signatures. That's Kelly, the frontman, Jerry, their new guitarist, and then the bottom there is Yoav, their new bassist. And speaking of the bass, this is honestly as good as you can get with death metal bass. I don't know if I could name a better OSDM bassist. Maybe I don't know. I don't know anybody who would rival them. So this was written by Atheist when they had their bassist Roger Patterson, but like a year or so before this album came out, he died, because he died in 1990. This came out in 1991. I don't know the exact dates, but I know he died in February, and this came out in early 1991, I'd say. But anyways, so he wrote a lot of it with the band, and they had to get a new bassist, obviously, because he died. And they got this dude named Tony Choi. And he absolutely kills it on here. If you listen to the demos with Roger Patterson on bass, they sound exactly the same, pretty much. Obviously, it sounds better on the album because of it's produced like an actual album. But like the tone is immaculate for the playing. It's very jazzy and like spastic, I'd say. Really cool, really interesting stuff with the bass going on. Anyways, there's only 8 songs. There's Mother Man, Unquestionable Presence, Your Life's Retribution, but on this one it's just called Retribution. Enthralled in Essence, An Incarnation's Dream, The Formative Years, Brains, and then the 8th song is And the Psychic Saw. There's also pre-production demos from August of 1990 with Roger Patterson. There's a bunch of songs, some instrumentals. There's drum and bass tracks from Mother Man, which I listen to, maybe because I'm a huge fan of the band, but I mean, it's as good as it is with the guitar and all, and the vocals and all that, but you just get to hear the bass more, and you get to hear the drums a little bit clearer, and then rhythm tracks are And the Psychic Saw. Also comes with a DVD. This is Season of Mist, put this specific release out. If you want to get this album, I would say get it on this, through this pressing of it, because it has all the extra shit on it. And got to be a little bit careful with this, because I have kind of scuffed it up a little bit getting it out. But there's also a lot of like, I don't know what you'd call it, like there's a lot of, it's not really an interview, but it's just Kelly talking about Roger and talking about their touring and their recording process and all that. And there's some pictures of the guys. That's Tony Choi. There's Kelly doing vocals. Anyways, I won't get too into that, at least not right now. The songs on here are all very consistent. Like, this is an album where you can just put it on and listen to the whole thing and be amazed by every song. And they all stand out on their own, too. The only ones that I would say don't are the first two, Mother Man and Unquestionable Presence, because, well, they stand out, obviously, but I listen to them together almost every single time, because there's a transition thing between the end of Mother Man and Unquestionable Presence. So it's always, for me, it's always been a single song with 2 parts, I guess. And Mother Man is probably their most technical song, most jazz influenced, I'd say. It starts with this weird drum, like free jazz drum part. I forget the exact timing, but it's like 23/8 or something like that. I don't know. I'm not really into time signatures that well. I couldn't tell you. I can be like, oh, that's this time signature, whatever. But there's a very, very good guitar solo. There's an actual jazz break at the end with some like bass tapping, and then at the end there's like bird sounds, which transitions into Unquestionable Presence, which has some really interesting riffs. And the first real riff of that song, besides just like the open chord, like strumming or whatever at the beginning, is this really interesting riff with the timing is so like I don't know. I've heard this album and that song so many times, but it's still hard to like. I don't know. You know when you're listening to a song, you kind of just like do that on your like. That's what I do. I can't get the timing down, which it just kind of shows that even when I've heard it a billion times, it's still like complex to the point where I can't memorize it. You know what I mean? But Enthralled in Essence has some really good groovy parts. And Incarnation's Dream starts off with an acoustic section. There's 2 guitars, and then it goes into the whole metal part. And I guess you could describe them as like, you could compare them to Pestilence, you could compare them to Cynic and Death, but I would say they're kind of their own thing. There's bands that have like emulated the sound pretty well, like Defeated Sanity on the Dharmata side of Disposal of the Dead / Dharmata, that EP album, whatever you want to call it. It gets close, but Atheist has always been like their own kind of thing, and they've not really had anybody come super close to sounding like them. But I mean, on Piece of Time, there's bands that kind of sound like that because it's a little more thrash. It's a little more thrashy. It's a little more old school death metal-y than jazzy, but the jazz influence is still on songs like Piece of Time and Eye to Eye and all that. I don't know. Let me look through this because I actually don't look through this one too often. Yeah, there's 2 pictures of Roger there. Yeah, he died on tour when they were driving. Actually, I think it was when they were driving home from one of their tours, and their bus got into an accident, and he died like in Kelly Schaefer's arms. Yeah, so Kelly used to play guitar and sing live, at least, and on the album, but now he doesn't anymore because I think he developed tendinitis or carpal tunnel syndrome or something like that. So he doesn't do like when I saw him live, he just has the mic. He doesn't have any guitar, but his guitar playing is just fucking phenomenal, and it's not even just because it's on the album, like it's just because it's recorded professionally and all that, because there's a video of them playing in a rehearsal space in Florida, because they're from Florida, they're from Sarasota, and they're demoing these songs or just practicing them, and there's people watching. I think I forget who was there. There's like in some of the old school death metal videos, you could be like, oh, Mike Browning from Nocturnus is there, or Trey from Morbid Angel is there. So I think I remember somebody like noteworthy being watching them play or whatever. But anyways, they're all just as like precise and consistent when they're playing like live. And even when I saw them, I've seen them twice now. Seeing them live is actually what made me like them as a band, because I never really gave them a chance up until when I saw them, because they were playing Milwaukee Metal Fest 2024, and I just was blown away by how fucking tight they were. I don't know, I don't remember a lot about that show. I just remember being like in awe the entire time, and then I got to meet Jerry, their guitarist, and so when I saw them, I went down to the merch section of Milwaukee Metal Fest, and I bought this, and I bought Piece of Time, and I bought Elements instantly, because I'm like, this shit is really, really cool. So I ran up to him, I'm like, hey, can you, I talked to them for a little bit. I talked to Jerry and Yoav, and I got the signatures. And then I saw them a year later. So Milwaukee Metal Fest was May 2024, and then I saw them at Reggie's in Chicago, one of my favorite venues. I'd say my favorite venue, actually. And Jerry and Yoav both recognized me and came up. They came up to me, which was really, really cool to see. And they're super nice guys. I got to talk to Kelly for like 45 minutes about like life and like school and forming a band and obviously Atheist and all that stuff. And I was wearing my my Nocturnus Thresholds long sleeve, and we were talking about Nocturnus and all the other Florida bands and all that. But this album is super. It's super consistent. It's if you like stuff like Death like especially like Human Era Death with the guys from Cynic, Sean Reiner and Paul Masvidal. Like you'll like this. If you don't, like, I don't know, because my first exposure to them was Mother Man, and I don't know, I was fucking stupid back then. I listened to the first part of Mother Man, just the weird drumming in it, and then I hear his vocals, and he's like, "Yo, say there's freedom!" Like, he's kind of shrieking a little bit, and I was like, okay, this isn't my style. But then I, like, turned the song off, and then when I saw them live, I'm like, holy shit, this is really good. They became my favorite band for a while. I don't know if I'd say they're my favorite of all time, but they're top 10 easily. But yeah, if you like like Lack of Comprehension, for example, or if you like Cynic's Veil of Maya, or just anything that Cynic did, even stuff like Pestilence. Pestilence is a little bit different, but I don't know. If you like progressive music and you like death metal, you'll most likely like this. And standout tracks for me, Mother Man, Unquestionable Presence, both of those. Enthralled in Essence, I'd say that's a good song. Like if I don't know, I wouldn't say it's the one song you should listen to from the album, because I'd say that'd be Mother Man. But the most like accessible, I'd say, would be Enthralled in Essence, because it's pretty straightforward. I mean, it's one of the ones I've been able to play on drums for like a while, or at least a botched version of it. So that kind of tells you that it's not, because I don't know shit about jazz. I don't know that much about time signatures, but I could make it work, you know. Brains has some really interesting guitar work. They have a lot of like trem riffs. They have a lot of I don't know. They have a lot of interesting drum phrasing and interesting stuff with like the cymbals going on, like his cymbal. I don't know, what do you call it, like cymbal play or whatever. Like, it's really interesting. The vocals on here are pretty good. They caught me off guard the first time I ever heard them, but I don't know. I think he's a good vocalist, and I think he has a lot of range, because he's Kelly's also in a band called Neurotica, or was in a band called Neurotica, doing like I don't even know if I'd call them a metal band, like a rock band. He was also going to be the frontman of Velvet Revolver, which was, I don't know who else was in it, but I know Slash from Guns N' Roses was in it, and Duff McKagan from Guns N' Roses was in it, and then they chose Scott from Stone Temple Pilots, which he's a better vocalist than Kelly Schaefer. I can say that easily, but that just kind of shows you that this dude's not just about the really like low, like I don't know, like if like Corpse Grinder from Cannibal Corpse just does like the low, not really like dynamic, kind of just like one. I mean, he also does highs, but you know what I'm trying to say. Like he's not Kelly's dynamic is what I'm trying to say. Like he has a lot of range. He has a lot of he just sounds really good. Obviously, it's kind of like a not really that interesting of a take, but you know what I mean. He's very assertive as a vocalist, and I like how it works well with the spasticness of the music, and I still think this is probably their most like mature album. I think it's their most like hard to understand. I think it's their most like I think it's their best album, but Piece of Time and Elements they're really different. I mean, you can tell it's the same band, but like especially from Unquestionable Presence to Elements, it's like, what the fuck happened? I'm gonna do a review on Piece of Time and Elements at some point, but Elements has more like Latin jazz influence, which I mean, it makes sense considering all three of their albums in the 90s had jazz influence, but with Elements, there's just so much weird shit going on. But we're talking about this album. This album, easy 10 out of 10. I'd say it's like, it's definitely an essential listen for any old school death metal fans. I don't think it's like a underground thing. Like most people have heard of Atheist or heard of, like I don't know, like bands associated with them. Like there's, I think Tony Troy was in Cynic. I don't remember, But oh yeah, that's the disc, by the way, and then there's that one, and that's what the inside looks like. This is a more sound album, so it sounds, production wise, it sounds fucking great. The bass tone, I think I already said, is phenomenal. There's so much clarity in it. You can always be listening and honing in on what the bass is doing, and it's not like muddled or anything. It's very, very present, and it definitely deserves to be on this album. The guitars sound great. The drums especially sound really good. There's footage of their drummer Steve Flynn tracking it, and I think it's cool to watch. His kid is really huge, and I stare at it with envy, and I want it, you know what I mean? But yeah, they were, I don't know, I've read a lot of stuff about them, and it seems like they were not liked in the by some people, because I've read that they were like accepted in the Florida scene, and everybody was like, I watch them on YouTube, like I watch videos of them on YouTube, be like, oh yeah, I used to hang out with the Atheist guys while they rehearsed in their jam space, and I used to go smoke pot with them. Like, a lot of people have a lot of really good things to say that were like from that era, watching them like come up or whatever. But I've read like that, like Chuck Schuldiner at first didn't like them, and they toured with, I think it was Cannibal Corpse and Candlemass, which is the fucking weirdest lineup ever, especially for 1990, I think it was. Because I mean, I like all three of those bands, but the Cannibal Corpse fans didn't like Atheist, and the Candlemass fans sure as fuck didn't, because they're so different. But I don't know, they had to overcome a lot of strife, a lot of bullshit, because they weren't doing what Cannibal Corpse was doing. They weren't doing what like Death at the time was doing. I mean, even on, I guess Spiritual Healing is a little bit more progressive, but like this doesn't sound like Leprosy or like Scream Bloody Gore, or I'm trying to think of other Florida albums. It does. Oh, I forgot to fucking mention Nocturnus. If you like Nocturnus, easy. This. It doesn't sound like The Key, but same kind of concept of like progressive OSDM from Florida. I don't know. They always had more of like a fuck you. We're gonna do whatever we want, and we're gonna push ourselves to our limit, and we're not gonna be confined by the boundaries of this new death metal thing that's going on, which I always respected them for. I always respect bands that do that. I mean, like Rush is one of my favorite bands. They never held back on anything, but yeah, very unique album, very fun listen. Easy 10 out of 10, like I said, 100% out of 100. Yeah, there's not much else to say. Just listen to the album if you wanna know what I'm saying. But yeah, I don't know. I hope that went well, because it's my first real review. No script or anything, obviously. I'm gonna try to improve, because this one is not as good as I thought it was. But anyways, 10 out of 10. Listen to this. I'll do a review of Piece of Time, and I'm gonna do a review of Elements. I'm gonna do some other stuff in between, but you know what I mean. All right. See ya.